The year is 1914. World War I has just started after the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austrian throne, and most militaries used soft headgear. However, one of the nations that had actual helmets is the German Empire. Today we will talk about the German headgear of the Pickelhaube, with 3 renditions and as well as a soft cap. The first item we'll be talking about is the World War I German Imperial soft cap. This was also known as the fatigue cap, which was worn with soldiers that didn't use helmets at the time, so during resting. It was made with wool of green and a red stripe, which had different indications, and the 2 imperial marking roundels on the top. Here it is up close. As you can see, this one has a red band around it, as well as the 2 insignia on the top in the green. This would have went with the Feldgrau German World War I Imperial uniform. The next helmet we'll be talking about is the German Pickelhaube. Now the Pickelhaube was first made in 1842 by King Frederick Wilhelm. He created it for the Prussian military, so the Pickelhaube is one of the oldest military helmets used with rifles. Here most people recognize it by the spike and the frontal eagle. The spikes also had meanings. This would have been infantry. Spikes with a ball on the top usually signaled it was an artillery unit. This one here is made out of leather. Let's see the next one, shall we? The second Pickelhaube we'll be talking about today is made out of felt. This was another cheaper material, as well as brass, for the spike, the eagle signal, and the back head. Here it is up close. This one also has a strap, which most of them would have had during the First World War, and the Imperial German rounder symbol on the side. Most of the Pickelhaubes with leather would also have a small, very thin piece of metal in between the leather on the first one that we renditioned. The reason that the Germans didn't use Pickelhaubes later in the war is because they offered little neck protection from shrapnel, which was a very deadly killer. The third Pickelhaube we'll be talking about is a Cavalry Pickelhaube. This one is completely different from the first few we viewed. For example, it is made out of iron completely, with the top being iron and an eagle signal. This one was most likely used by the Kaiser's unit that he created for his first wife, which charged 14 times at one of the battles during the First World War. The front is completely made of an iron signal and an iron spike. The rest has a silver color, which has corroded over the years into rust. Now we'll talk about what replaced the Pickelhaubes. This here is a Stahlhelm. It is very recognizable and known for Germany during World War II, but officially it was used in service during the First World War. The main reason they switched to the Stahlhelm in 1915 was mainly because of the neck protection it offered, the ventilation shaft pegs right here as well, which could put a frontal plate on the front. Variations changed during the First and Second World War. Now, we're going to go over of what they would have looked like if a soldier would have been wearing it. The Stahlhelm would have covered the soldier's head and offered frontal protection and neck protection in the back of the head, so shrapnel would rain down on the sides, like an umbrella. You also have the frontal plate right here, which would have been front, but was also heavier and would cause less mobility for the soldier to move. This here is what the felt cap would have looked like, or the fatigue cap on a soldier. Sadly, we do not have an officer's, which would have had a visor added and more pronoun in the front. Let's move on to the next helmet, shall we? The second helmet we have here is the Pickelhaube. This one is the leather one. This is what it would have looked like on a soldier in the First World War. The felt one is extremely fragile, so not to damage it further, we will not be wearing it. So instead, we will be wearing the cavalry helmet. You can see it has offered neck protection in the back, which would help from saber blows, as well as its steel and spike. Let's go into detail about the spikes of the Pickelhaube. The reason spikes were on the helmet in the first place was also an intimidation factor. It made the enemy and opponent feared, mainly because of how tall the spike was. It would make them stand taller. As well, for the cavalry mount, they would have spikes to deflect saber blows. As a saber is swinging from horseback, it would dismantle from the spike on top of the helmet. These also helped with unit distinctions, like we said before, with the ball indicating artillery. These were detachable as well. They also came with a soft cover felt cap, which would cover it from the insignia, which would have the unit marker and logo. So it would cover over the Stahlhelm as well, which they made later in the years. But originally, they quit that and decided to only make it for the Pickelhaube. Here's what the Pickelhaube would have looked like without its spike. This was really helpful because it would easily be able to change into an artillery unit. And here is its spike. Usually made of brass or copper, iron or steel. And it was a very easy screw on. Here is the chin strap that we have for the cavalry helmet. Sadly, it has come apart and we do not want to put it on in fear of ruining or injuring the helmet. As you can see, right here is its unit rounding, indicating it's Imperial, Prussian, or German. Thank you for watching, and go watch other videos if you're interested, or come visit us at 2122 O'Day Road, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hope to see you here.